Right, well, this is a '01 Dodge Ram 2500 with the Cummins in it, doing upper and lower ball joints. And what I did on these is I cut the heads of those rivets off. That's one of the rivet heads right there. I cut that rivet head off, and I center punched it in this middle. I'm starting to re-drill it right now. And that top one, what I did with that top ball joint, okay, this is it here, is I got a grinder and I grind straight down from the top like this and grinded a slot in it. Then after I ground a slot in it, there's a piece of the half. See, the half will be sitting there like that. Alright, and grind the slot. And I got a chisel. I got a big old chisel. Like this chisel right here. It's about 1 foot long, okay? And I hit it with a 3-pound hammer, okay? This 3-pound hammer right here. Hit it with this hammer. And, you know, a couple whacks and it chops the top of that rivet off. And then after you get the tops all chopped off, you just hit that ball joint with the hammer just right here on the end, and it just falls off on the ground. Now, this particular ball joint is in really bad shape. It's about to, it's about to pop out. So that's what's going on with that one. Bottom one's the same thing, but when you do this bottom one, it's quite a bit more work. I cut the rivets off. It's got 4 in it. I'm not gonna install the top one because I need room in here to get my drill in here. Okay, the drill's pretty long, and with that top ball joint out of the way, that gives me a little bit more space. So that's why I leave that one out for now. Now what I do is I disassemble that hub all the way. Take the hub off, take the spindle all the way off. Usually the ABS sensor right here is stuck, can't get it out. So what I do is I just cut this zip tie here. And you can push that zip tie out and still use that little mount, okay? And just get another zip tie and stick it in that hole. I take those 2 18mm bolts out that hold the caliper on. Take that off. Take the tie rod end off, obviously, and it's fried too. I'm going to replace that. But just set it there on the ground. It'll be alright. Once you, I'm going to do a pilot hole, and then I'm going to drill it out to another size that's larger than this, so that the wall thickness of those rivets that are in there is really thin, okay? And then I'll drive them out and just whack this thing a bunch of times, and it'll shrink them a little bit, and just drive them out straight out the bottom. And that's how it works. I'll take a little bit more video in a minute here when I get farther along, and we'll see how it goes. Alright, so that's an in-progress shot of drilling through those rivets. Now I'm going to point this at the bottom, but I can't see it. Okay, you probably noticed that the hole doesn't always come out perfectly in the center on the other side, and that's alright. It's not a deal breaker. But when you have a sharp drill bit and you keep the speed at the right speed, you'll get a bird's nest like this, and that's fine. Just leave it on there. Just stay away from it as sharp as a razor blade. But that's what we're doing here. We're drilling out some rivets. This is what it looks like when you do it, and I still can't get over how fried these ball joints are, man. About to come out. Anyway. Alright, so I got them drilled out the next size. I hit it with the hammer about, 5 times. And you can see where the sides of those rivets are weak. Alright, and it stands up there. You can see that the rivet is dislodged in that hole a little bit. And you can get them just right, you can drive them out. That's what I'm looking for. So let's see what happens. Alright, so that's what we're looking for. I drilled it out to 7/16, and I hit it with the punch from the inside, and drove it out from the top, and it fell out. I'm going to do the same thing with those other ones. I wasn't able to get it because It came out in one swift blow, just flew out. So if I can get one halfway, we'll take a picture of it. Alright, so as you can see, got another one out, and I can get a better picture of how this thing is in there. I got that punch started in the side of it, and once it got a good grab in there, okay, once it got a good purchase, I hit it 3 times and it came out. That's it. Alright, so here, I got one here, it got started. Let's take a small shot of that so you can see what it looks like coming out. That rivets. It's way out there. Maybe I could get it with the hammer and show that thing come out the rest of the way. I don't know. And I'm not able to do that. I have to hold the tension on there to keep it purchased on the side of the rivet. Alright, so this is what it looks like. We're going back together. Got the bolts all tightened up. I painted it. So I had bare metal where it had been grinded and stuff. And so everything is going back together. That ABS sensor wire, which I don't like anything about how it's routed, I cut the original part off and just slid the zip tie through the existing hole, and you'll feel along it, and you'll feel a little dimple in it where that original one was at, and I'm going to put it right back there where it was at originally. And of course, after I get it all put together, then I'll grease it afterwards. If you try to grease it before, then this boot here will extend down past its grip zone and all the grease will just shoot out. So grease them afterwards, and take note of where the little hole is. Okay, if you want the hole to be pointing a certain way, you'll have to turn this the way you want the hole to be pointed before you put it together. Now the position that it's in now for me is good enough. I probably turn it so that it's pointing forward, pointing this way. I'll probably turn it a little bit, but that's kind of how it looks. Obviously I was not able to take the ABS sensor out because it's froze and stuck, and anyway, just make sure and clean all the shavings off of it and stuff the best you can. And I'm not going to replace the hub on this side. This is 2-wheel drive. This is what it looks like on 2-wheel drive. But most of this other stuff that's on here as far as replacing these and grinding rivets are concerned are the same for 4-wheel drive too. So it's just a lot of work. You just have to take your time and stay after it. Alright, well, I just about got this thing wrapped up for the most part. The book says torque this down to 185, and some of the other critical components on here that need to be taken note of, which are pretty important. On those two 18mm bolts, there's one there and there's one down here. I put red Loctite on them. I don't remember what the torque is for that. You can easily look that up and find it on the forums. This little ABS wire is pretty important for it to go back. It's kind of hard to get it to click into these little plastic clips, but you mess with it enough, you'll get it in. And then of course there's the zip tie. I just cut the original one and took it out and put a new zip tie in its place. Getting to the back of that little anchor thing is kind of a pain. I just cut them off and put a new zip tie. So that's how that works there. Right now I'm about to do the tie rod ends. They're toasted pretty bad. But that's about it. I just need to grease her up. Got all the clips on there. Everybody's torqued down. Everything is happy. You know, you just kind of want this little guy to point in the spot where you could get to it with a grease gun to turn the steering wheel a little bit to get this thing out here where you can get to it. So, you know, hey, it's looking pretty good. Y'all take it easy.